Now, when we are talking about the concepts of market price and factor cost, this is what I'm going to understand. When we talk about market price or MP, it means a perspective from the consumer side, because remember, it is the consumers who pay the market price. And when we talk about the from the factor cost, then it is basically the producers, because producers are the one who are dealing with the factor cost. Now, what we want to understand here, when we are talking from the concept of market price, that is the consumer's end, basically what it means is that the consumers are the ones who pay indirect tax. Now, what is indirect tax? I think all of you remember this. We have discussed about it earlier. Indirect tax is basically those taxes like sales tax and stuff which can be passed on. I mean, suppose there is a sales tax on a particular object, a pen or a rubber or a laptop, that the producers will never pay it themselves. What happens is that they pass it on to the consumers. Therefore, consumers end up paying the indirect tax. Remember this factor. Now, there is one more concept that we would like to bring here, which is basically the subsidy. Now, what's a subsidy? We have discussed this in the Indian economy earlier. Let's get into a bit more details of this. A subsidy is basically an incentive given by the government. But who receives the incentive? The incentive is not received by the consumer. It is received by the producer. Please remember this. The incentive is received by the producer. How? Suppose there is a fertilizer bag, and the fertilizer bag costs, let us say, 1,000 rupees. Now, the government says that I am going to give a subsidy of 900 rupees, and the farmer has to pay, or the consumer has to pay 100 rupees. Now, see, this 900 rupees will go to whom? This 900 rupees will go to the producer, and the farmer will also pay this 100 rupee to the producer. So ultimately, who is receiving the benefit of the subsidy? The benefit of the subsidy is directly going to the producer. Please remember this. This is very important concept here. So you have to remember that when we are talking about market price, we are dealing with the consumers, and when we are dealing with factor cost, we are dealing with producers. Is that clear? Now, market price basically means that I am talking about a plus in the indirect tax but a minus on the subsidy. Why? Because of the reasons that I just discussed. Consumers pay indirect tax and producers get subsidy. So consumers do not get subsidy. So if I want to convert from factor cost to market price, that means it will be plus IT. Remember that basically the consumers pay the IT, indirect tax, and the subsidy they don't receive. But if I am converting from market price to factor cost, so if I am paying from market price to factor cost, in that case I will add subsidy but subtract indirect tax. Please remember.